Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Dave's Faves, number 153. And today I want to talk to you about the symphonies of Franz Berwald. Berwald is one of those composers who exists on the fringes of the repertoire. He wrote 4 symphonies, one of which is sort of a reconstruction of something. It's not terribly well put together, but the others are amazing. Amazing works and fascinating. There's the Symphony Sérieuse, they'll have titles, number 1, and then there's the Capricieuse, which is in D major, that's number 2, and then number 3, the Singulière, which is really one of the masterpieces of the early Romantic period. I mean, his dates were 1796 to 1868. All of these symphonies were written in the 1840s, which makes them contemporary with Schumann's symphonies, and they couldn't sound more different. And then the last one is number 4 in E-flat major. It's number 2, the D major one, that's sort of the iffy one, but the other 3 are all echt Berwald, and they are marvelous, especially the Singulière. Oh my God, what a fascinating work it is. Formally and harmonically, it's in cyclical form. It's got, a scherzo that's surrounded by an adagio. It's a brilliantly inventive work. Absolutely amazing. And they've been very well served on disc. I mean, there was a whole Berwald series of stuff on EMI way back. But after that, the world took off and records took off and people did a lot of this stuff. Nimi Järvi did a cycle for Deutsche Grammophon, for example. Aku Kammu did a very fine cycle on bis. They're absolutely first rate. Hyperion did them. Everybody did them. The world did them because they're beautiful, wonderful symphonies. But my choice, my fave, is this one on bis with Sixten Ehrling, the late Sixten Ehrling, who with the Malmö Symphony Orchestra. And you also get his Concertstück for bassoon and orchestra. Now, Sixten Ehrling was a bit of a character. People admire him greatly. He has a very fine, there's almost a cult reputation among listeners, especially for doing, for example, a Sibelius cycle, which once we heard it, we realized was nothing special. That happens. But he had an absolutely miserable temper, and nobody wanted to work with him. That was his problem. That happens with some conductors, We know that they're talented. We know that they're tremendously charismatic musically, but they're so awful nobody can get along with them. And Sixten Ehrling was sort of one of those. So there aren't many recordings of him, and there aren't many recordings in fabulous modern digital sound. I mean, because that Sibelius cycle was like from the 50s. He popped up now and again, mostly in Sweden, mostly on Swedish labels, such as this one. But if there is one set of records that serves as a legacy to what he could do, it is his Berwald cycle on bis. It is completely, totally, utterly first rate. In every respect, it's magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Now, there are other fine performances, like I said. I was talking about cycles a minute ago, like Kammu and those in the EMI one. I forget who's doing it, and I have them all sitting here. But there were also wonderful individual performances, particularly of the Singulière, the symphony. I mean, I actually think Ehrling did another one for Decca, or somebody did one on Decca. But then you had Markievicz did it. It was in mono, but of course it was fabulous. It was Markievicz. That's great, and that's the Singulière. And Blomstedt has done a couple of them, not the Singulière, but he's doing a new Berwald cycle. Rumor has it. So of course you may want to wait until that shows up in the next year or two, assuming Blomstedt makes it to do it. But I wouldn't. However good it may be, it's not going to be better than this. I feel pretty confident saying that. I really do. And certainly the sonics here it's bis at its best. It's extraordinary, fabulous sound. And the music is just fresh and lively and full of good tunes. It's marvelous, marvelous music. If you don't know Berwald, he's like a Nordic Mendelssohn, sort of, kind of. Only he has more of a folk influence. He has an instantly recognizable harmonic style. His orchestration is incredibly charming because he knew what to do with woodwind instruments. He knew that orchestration depends on how you treat the woodwinds, and he knew how to treat the woodwinds. It's just a delight. I can't recommend this strongly enough, and so I hope you have a chance to give it a listen and enjoy it as much as I do. Start with the Singulier, which is Symphony number 3. You have never heard a symphony like it. I did a video about it, and I think there's some samples there if you want to go listen to it. But for the whole batch, and if you're going to get one, you might as well get them all. It's only 2 discs. No big deal, right? Get them all and just enjoy them. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me so much. Take care.